Hi there, this is the Falco, and today in this video I'm going to be looking at Tottenham Hotspur's squad going into the 24-25 season, looking at the various departments, the players, and seeing what's going to go on during the course of the season, what I'm going to be looking for technically, tactically, where the improvements can be, and what I think some of our strengths and weaknesses are at the moment. Obviously, we have just started the international break, so it's time to do something slightly different with no games to focus on and no performances. So this will probably take a little bit of time, so we'll split this up into a couple of videos, and I will start at the back because it feels right to do so. So obviously looking at Vicario, our starting goalkeeper. I think we've all got into a situation where we're quite comfortable with Vicario as our number one, the so-called cheaper option. Obviously, David Raya is proving himself to be an excellent goalkeeper, much to our annoyance, because our North London rivals have managed to pick him up for a lot less than Brentford was seemingly charging us. But Vicario does have a few key attributes that fit us really, really well. And particularly coming at it from the point of view that Ange Postecoglou really loves players with a chip on their shoulder or with something to prove, or who've had a difficult pathway to where they've got to. So Vicario is now seemingly reaching the peak of where he can go in terms of international call-up for the Italian team, and Tottenham's number one in the Premier League. So he's made it to the top of the pyramid, but he didn't have an easy road to get there. And my hope is that some of the areas that Vicario is still not really proficient on are the areas that he can really work on, and he will aggressively work on those things to improve himself as a goalkeeper, and they're fairly obvious. As I said before, I think he can work on his footwork. I genuinely believe that he can be hesitant, and this comes from a personality thing as well. Some of the issues he has about being dominant as a goalkeeper are translated into the way that he uses his feet. I think from a shot stopping point of view, he is incredible. His mechanics, his body type is the perfect shot stopping goalkeeper. He's all limbs and a really long body, so he's got great reflexes, and he's fantastic at that. So that kind of thing, I think he's one of the best in the league. But I think he needs to work on his footwork particularly, and I really do mean this, not just in terms of coming to claim crosses, where I'd like him to be more dominant and more robust, but also when he is preparing himself for passing out from the back, because he's such a big part of our game in terms of using the ball with his feet. I'd like to see him be more proactive, getting himself in better body positions so that he opens up other passing options. Sometimes I feel like he closes himself down to a very specific passing lane or an angle or a situation, especially when the press is really coming towards him. So again, get that footwork right, get himself in better passing positions. He's going to open up more options and more opportunities to pick out different players in his back line or in his deeper lying midfield line to get us out through a press for any teams that do that against us. Likewise, crosses, set pieces, he needs to be stronger. He needs to continue to work on how aggressive he is. I don't want to see him just throwing himself at a melee and trying to punch and scrape balls away. I want to see a little bit more of pushing through, charging through crowds, getting over the top. Certainly his height and the length of his arms, I really do feel that if he's a bit braver and he's willing to take a bit more contact in the ribs and across his midsection, he can get in over the top of people. Once he's got two solid hands on the ball, if he gets his timing right, gets two solid hands on the ball, anything that then happens to him after that is going to be a free kick in our favour. So those are things I want to see. He's a fantastic character. We love him. He's a great addition to our playing staff. So yeah, just want to see those couple of things really improving throughout the course of the season. And I think he can have a great season for us. We've obviously got Fraser Forster, we've got Alfie Whiteman, we've got Brandon Austin, we've got very exciting Luca Gunter as well. I'll be very keen to see how he gets on. So we've got a deep goalkeeping roster, so to speak, but not the most experienced, and certainly I don't think many people think Fraser Forster is the long-term answer to being our number two. So that's an area that we can look to upgrade. But I am keen to see how Luca Gunter gets on this season, because I think he's being earmarked as one that could have an impact on first team operations in future years. Across the back line, Pedro Porro is a fantastic attacking footballer. He's a wonderful technician. He's got a great shot on him. He's very positive. He's very dynamic. He's fast. And I think he brings so much to us as an inverted fullback, and then getting really, really high up onto the edge of the box or shooting from range. He makes a real difference. And as I said, he's a technician. He's a good footballer. I still feel he needs to work on his defensive abilities and on his defensive duties. He can get caught out of position. He doesn't always look the most natural in terms of sensing where the danger is, particularly as we get counterattacked on. And I do think it's really, really difficult. He's a player that has to do enormous amounts of running up and down that right-hand side. And he's very involved in the play, so it can lead to him being quite a distance from where an eventual action is going to happen for the opposition. But I still think he needs to work on reading situations and just putting himself in the position where he can most affect a defensive action in the same way that he would do from an attacking point of view. I want to see him understanding that it may not be perfect where I'm going to end up, but I'm going to be in a position where I can best affect this from a defensive point of view. And I think he can work on that. His awareness on that can improve. I'd also like to see him be a bit more robust with balls over the top. He tends to get lost with balls over the top, and he can obviously be easily beaten in the air as well. So another area he can work on. Romero, I've talked about this in terms of him. He is genuinely a world class, and he's a World Cup winner and an international and a two-time Copa America winner. He is a genuinely world-class defender on his day. He is a fantastic ball-playing centre-half. He's super aggressive, and when he puts it all together, when he gets it right, he is a phenomenon. He's an absolutely wonderful centre-half, and he's the kind of player, I actually saw it in the Newcastle game where there was a 50-50 between Romero and Anthony Gordon, and Anthony Gordon knew Romero's coming across and he's clearing everything out. He is going to smash everything. Anthony Gordon just pulled out. He possibly with his pace could have got there and got a toe in, but it certainly would have come at the cost of a crunch, and he just pulled out of it. Unfortunately, Romero actually just topped it and it went out for a corner instead of a throw. But again, that is a great asset. That level of aggressivity gives Romero one up. Players do not want to know that he is coming in and he's coming in hot. So when he gets it right, it's brilliant and it's an asset. But he has shown this season that he can fall asleep. He can be doing things slightly differently, go charging up the pitch, and that can cause us difficulties, and you could argue that other members of the team need to fill in and then need to take responsibility, and I would agree with that to a certain extent. But you live and die by your decisions in top flight football, and I say this all the time, it's about consequences. You make a decision, and if off the back of that decision you get a negative outcome, you have to own that. So Romero, I think, got it wrong for the Jamie Vardy goal. He ran clear across him because he's trying to get back in position, because he'd gone screaming out to the right wing, or to our right back position. And the same thing, he went screaming out into midfield against Newcastle. He was left out of position, and again they managed to score the Harvey Barnes goal. So I want to see that concentration, and the second Newcastle goal, where I feel he's moving in the wrong direction, because Joel Linton's turned and able to play a relatively simple pass for a Premier League level player. I want to see him staying awake, putting it together for 95, 100 minutes, and then bringing all of those attributes and getting us across the line with no lapses in concentration across games, and then he will fulfill his promise. He will be looked at by Real Madrid for 85 million euros, no doubt, if he can put it all together. Mickey van der Ven alongside him, What to say about Mickey? He looks like he's I don't know, he's got a little motorbike in his pocket. He's that quick for a man of that size. That is very, very impressive. I think he is improving a little bit on his physical strength and the way he puts himself about. Notes for him include becoming more dominant in the air. For a player of his size, I don't think he's as good as he could be in the air, and I like to see him being more dominant, marking the big centre halves and strikers from opposing set pieces, and taking ownership and winning those headers. And then obviously that translates to the other end of the pitch. If he is improving that side of his game, he can also add goals to his game. I love seeing him smash one in from the edge of the box. That's wonderful. I love seeing him tearing up the pitch, 90 yards, and then playing a pass for Sonny. But I'd like him to do a few of the bread and butter bits and pieces around attacking and defending in the air, which is where he can really improve on. So fingers crossed we keep him fit, and he can continue to improve. But he's got great personality, great technician, really good. He looks comfortable within our setup, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. So excited about Mickey. In the left back area, we've got Destiny, who I think this season looks like he's coming a bit undercooked. So I'm just excited to see him get back up to full fitness, and I really hope that this international break and being away, I think he's with the Italy squad, being away with the Italy squad if he is going to help him get back to closer to that form and that fitness, because we're going to need him, because he's going to have a really, really tough test against one of the best in the league when we host our North London rivals, in Bukayo Saka, who is a phenomenal player. He's an incredible player, and Destiny dealt with him really, really well after a kind of shaky start at the Emirates last season. He dealt with him very well. I want to see that same kind of performance go across 90 minutes now. Deal with that. Deal with the fact that Arsenal do a lot of rotation work in those pockets on the corners of the 18-yard box, where they get 2 and 3 and 4 players in, and they start moving the ball about and moving themselves about. I want that locked down. I want that looking really tight, and I want his 1v1 duels against Saka. I want him coming out on top of those and using his physicality. And then going forward, his decision making, he's got to improve on conceding possession. He does give the ball away and has given the ball away in positions that you can't afford to in the way that we play, with the lack of defensive cover. So he has to improve on that, and also his attacking touches. He looks slightly off it at the minute, and we need that to get tighter, need that to get better, really be an assured person in terms of receiving the ball and then keeping it moving and keeping those things going. He did it in pockets and was brilliant last season. I want to see him doing the same thing throughout this season as well. And he just needs to improve, right? He just needs to keep taking steps forward and getting better. So we have got a phenomenally exciting prospect on our hands, and I'll be interested to see how he gets on in the future, and how he continues to put things together. But yeah, there's a lot to be hopeful for, but plenty for him to tidy up as well. And then just very quickly to tie it all up, we've got a few other players in and around. We've got Ben Davies, who brings lots of experience, and hopefully he is as much an influence on the training ground. I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to see this season. He's cover, but I think he is a top professional, and I think having him around the squad and just keeping everything tight in terms of don't lose focus, be committed to training, be committed to everything that happens off the pitch. I think he's a great role model, an example, and he can really bring that to us as a club. And then when he is called upon, he will do his best, and hopefully that goes really well for him, because he's been a fantastic servant for us over 10 seasons. Jed Spence, I'm excited to see. I think he'll get lots of minutes because he's now cover for right and left back for us. I think he can play that inverted role very well. He's clearly an attacking player at heart. So again, I'll be interested to see how he gets on the defensive duties. But yeah, excited to see him get more minutes now that he's back in the Tottenham fold. And then last but not least, Archie Gray, I guess you would fold into this defensive unit, because he is also likely to get minutes potentially at centre half as cover, and also at right back where he's played a lot. So it'll be interesting to see from him how he develops. He's a very exciting player. He's somebody with excellent technical skills. He's physically robust. He's an athlete, and he's got good game intelligence as well. When you see him on the football pitch, good football players can play in a multiple of positions because they have a good footballing brain. It's not just technique. They can go into a different position, they've got the technique to play the football, but then they understand the different positions on the pitch and how to play them, and I think he's shown that from a very young age. So he is arguably, we'll talk about him a bit more in the midfield unit, but I'll be very, very intrigued to see if he does get minutes at centre half particularly, which is a position that I don't think is natural to him, how he gets on. And who he's paired with and how that goes. So let's see how that gets on in the season. I've got high hopes. I think he'll actually do quite well. So I'm excited to see it. That's it for the defensive unit. Next up, we'll move to the midfield. But thanks for sticking with this. And if you did like it, drop a like, drop some comments underneath, and let me know what you think about Tottenham's defence this season. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.